Okay, so this is me talking about my abilities as an innovative practitioner. I did an innovative resource which I showed to the rest of the class, and this is me looking at the findings from the feedback I received from my peers, and using that to reflect on my abilities to teach my specialism appropriately, and my abilities to link any sort of planning or preparation that I do for lessons to my specialism. So I will be using Gibbs's reflective 6-point reflective cycle to achieve this. So brief description of my specialism. Technology is in my specialism. Technology is an integral part of teaching. This is because as a creative media production lecturer, I need to be able to teach my students the various techniques and uses needed to create media content. Creative media production involves a large amount of practical work and a lot of using different kinds of technology, different practical techniques. And so it's integral to teach these practical skills from the beginning of the course and not leave it for something that I do later on in the course, because the students need to know those skills from the beginning, really, so they can complete their work appropriately. So because of this, I try to work some form of practical or technological activity into my lessons so that the students can get a healthy dose of theory and practical experience throughout the curriculum. So that's how I try to approach teaching in my specialism, and that was the thought process I had when I planned out my innovative resource. And so one clear example of how this has benefited me is when I present my innovative resource. This resource consisted of a group filming task that utilised practical elements such as cameras and lenses, but it also utilised theoretical elements such as filmmaking jargon in relation to lens sizes, shot sizes, and composition. So, as I say, I tried to mix a healthy balance of practical and theory-based topics into the innovative resource, so I could showcase my ability to teach a mixed lesson where it has different aspects to it. This activity was designed to allow the students to work out ways to complete the task whilst getting experience with different filmmaking techniques. So, this task not only allows the students to build upon their prior knowledge, practical and theoretical media skills, but it also allows them to develop their abilities. So, my feelings from the feedback I've received and from my peers talking about the efficiency or lack thereof of my ability to teach in this manner, this sort of a mixture of two different teaching techniques. Through the feedback I've received from my peers, I feel confident with my approach to teaching. This is because the majority of the feedback I've received was overwhelmingly positive, with all the feedback sheets showing an excellent mark in the majority of the categories. So that is true, the feedback was overwhelmingly positive. This makes me feel confident that I am on the right track in terms of being able to plan an effective lesson, utilises different aspects of creative media production. So if I've received overwhelmingly positive feedback, in my opinion, that reflects that I'm along the right tracks when it comes to developing ideas for lessons and developing different ideas to construct the curriculum for my students in the most efficient way possible that will allow them to complete their work. So the evaluation, in terms of the success of the feedback, it was overwhelmingly positive. This means that I've been able to effectively plan a lesson that allows the students to demonstrate an array of skills relevant to their specialism. So the fact that the feedback was positive shows that not only did I prove what I intended to set out, which was to create a lesson that would mix written theoretical based work with practical camera based work, but it shows that people are able to identify that. People are easily able to see the link between my specialism and the lesson plan itself. They're able to see how I decided to plan my lesson out. They're able to see the thought process that I went through. They were also able to clearly define how this related to my specialism in different ways. So that's evaluation. In terms of analysis of the feedback I've received, the main points that worked well for my approach to teaching in the feedback I've received is the fact that I am able to create activities for students that are well suited to the subject matter and are relevant to my specialism. So yeah, the category that I received all excellence for is the resource relevant to my specialism category. So people were definitely able to see that the resource was relevant to the specialism, and that if I was to give that resource, that activity to my students, it would benefit them significantly because it will allow them to build upon past experience while simultaneously learning new skills. Another element of planning and teaching that I am conducting that has received good feedback is that my resource reflected links to the design of the course. This is because it involved a mixture of different aspects of creative media production. So yeah, it was there were obvious links to the course, obvious links to different aspects of filmmaking and media production in general. I'm happy about this because this proves that what I set out to do became what I had set out to do. In that, I wanted to create an activity that would allow the students to push them out of the comfort zone whilst allowing them to build work to use their own prior knowledge to create this like a new product. One aspect of the feedback that I got that wasn't entirely positive was how appropriate is it as an assessment tool. I got one excellent for that, but everyone else was proficient and / excellent. So I think I need to work on my abilities to work aspects into my lesson plans and into my activities for my students that would allow them to assess how well they have learned for self-reflection or an evaluation later on in the year, but will also allow me to assess how much progress they've made in their learning and their competence with different aspects of media production. And so I think it's important for me to develop those skills, because if I'm not able to assess my students' abilities to learn, then I won't be able to tell who I have to work with independently, or be able to tell how I should plan lessons in the future, depending on where everybody is in the class. So yeah, I will definitely try and work upon working in like obvious aspects of assessment criteria into future planning. And so that's one aspect of it. So I'd say that that's probably the main chink in my chain at the moment, is that there isn't like obvious ways for me to develop my assessment. And so in conclusion, I'm happy with the general direction I'm moving in terms of my ability to teach my students relevant topics and subjects, relevant skills that will help them develop their creative media abilities and their potential to exceed in the creative media industry. I will definitely work on trying to work aspects of assessment in. One way that I could work assessment in is to create like a self-reflection aspect to the plan, so people can look at what their skills were and what their abilities were before undertaking the practical task, and then I can work in a self-reflection unit, so that then they can reflect on their abilities at the beginning of a task and then develop their abilities later on in the task, so that they can identify how they've developed their abilities, so they can identify their own progress in terms of their academic ability. That's something I'll definitely take into account. I think one aspect that I need to also take into account is trying to link it to pre-existing learning theories. I've received a profession for that from one of members of one of my peers in my feedback. Yeah, I'll definitely try and take more inspiration from from pre-existing learning theories. Like, I try to use a mixture of behaviourist and social and situational learning theories in this sense, because I'm giving the students like specific instructions to go off and create a specific media product, but I'm giving them the freedom to do that in their own way, really. So I'm giving them the freedom to use their pre-existing knowledge to achieve that goal. So, and the reason why that's social situational is, if you're working in the creative media industry, you have to have the ability to use your own initiative. You have to have the ability to think on your own. You're not always going to have somebody telling you what to do. And I think that this puts students in in an environment where they can utilise those abilities to use their own initiative and think, use their own free will, use their own judgment. I think it's good to push students out of their comfort zone in that sense, because these students will hopefully be going into a job where they will have to use those skills. And so definitely trying to work in some sort of more links to pre-existing learning theories will probably help my students to achieve their full potential when undertaking these tasks that I set them. In terms of an action plan, that I will try and focus on those two main topics, working in aspects of assessment where I can assess the students' progress and they can assess their own abilities to work. I'll try and work in aspects of assessment, and I'm definitely going to try and work in pre-existing learning theories, so I can use that as a base to mould my resources and my lesson plans of the curriculum itself, so I can use it as a foundation, you see. My action plan is to try and build activities for my next observation lessons that will include those aspects, so that when I get observed, my link tutor will be able to identify the fact that I have added aspects of assessment and added aspects of pre-existing learning theories. My plan is to try and do that for the observations next term. So the reason why being is it gives me time to prepare, and it also gives me time to research a few more learning theories and gain valuable information from them, inspiration for learning, for setting out the practical tasks. And so, in conclusion, I'm quite happy with my ability to create activities and plan lessons that will be relevant to my specialism and that will help the students not only learn new skills but also to develop their pre-existing skills, and will also simultaneously help them to understand the environment that they're working toward. They're working toward being a creative media filmmaker or somebody who works in the creative media industry, in order to totally understand the necessities of that job role. I think it's good to put them in the shoes of somebody who works in the creative media industry. And so using a mixture of pre-existing theory-based work that students can build upon from their classroom activities, and also giving them the creative freedom to basically run the task themselves, I think will create a healthy mixture of academic ability and also practical skills that we need to learn. And so, yeah, that's me defending my approach to teaching.